Hello and welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Tonight we are bringing you another Challenge Cup match for A Link to the Past randomizer. It is Group T, Round 1, Game 3. So both the runners have something at stake. It is AlaszunIRL versus Leslie Pro 04. And I am joined tonight on commentary by Megawatt and Dracaris. And how you doing?
Hello, I'm doing fine. I'm looking forward to this game. It's gonna be a good one. It's game 3, so it's always a good.
And should be off shortly, about another 40 seconds. So I will let you two gentlemen talk about thingy mode and maybe a few other little things.
So yeah, as far as the settings go, we have changed settings from game 1. We changed open to standard, and we also changed the item shuffle to map compass shuffle, so we don't know if a dungeon is a crystal or a pendant until we pick up the map. So it makes for some interesting decision making around dungeons, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that also adds a good amount of inherent value to each specific dungeon because they no longer have a guaranteed map and compass, which is instead replaced by 2 items. Dungeons like Skullwoods, Misery Mire, and Hera are affected very much by this and become a lot stronger of a play. Oh, with that though, we are off.
And we start with a Quake medallion in Link's house already. It's an interesting strat by Leslie Pro. I haven't seen that one before, carrying the bush all the way to the uncle drop down.
Curious if that's any faster. Do you inherently walk slower in rain state of standard?
I am not sure, actually. I went to get a sword from Uncle, so this is gonna be an easy escape. They will not have a hard time farming bombs, if there are any bombs in the drop pool.
We do get a full magic drop though on both ends, so that's going to be very nice. And the Bombos medallion, already 2 medallions out of 3 here. And with that full magic drop and the sword, they can actually put those to use in escape, should they want to.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't need to use the medallion, though. Unfortunately, they don't have the fastest medallion to kill stuff like Mini Molems in Mini Molem Cave, which is Ether.
Yeah. Ether's probably the best one to have early game for stuff like that. Oh, Leslie is making use of it though on some of these green guards.
Checking the prize pool, it's nice knowledge from Leslie, but unfortunately it doesn't get any bombs. So basically, since this prize pack doesn't have any bombs, they have to hope that the red prize pack has bombs. Otherwise, they have to rely on a bomb drop in any of the chests, or they have to skip the bag of escape until they find bombs.
Right. There's still a pretty solid chance that they don't have to skip it, like you said. There's a lot of bombs as of ever since the bomb upgrades got removed from the pool. There's quite a few simply 3 bomb items laying around. And with one more item as well in Map Compass Shuffle in Escape, we might just have a chance of seeing that.
Yeah, they have 2 more chances before they have to rely on the red drop pool. Alasun is also going for the Quake here. Doesn't get a drop though, so he doesn't know what the drop pool is.
He did get the full magic from earlier though, so if he knows his drop pools, he knows that there's no bombs in that pool.
True. He had some trouble with the ball and chain guard, so he opts to pick up a pod and get a heart, just to be safe. Leslie is switching to bombos. Curious what his plan is. He's still killing green guards, so I assume he does not know about the prize packs. Or he does not know that this particular prize pack doesn't contain bombs.
So Alazun has retaken the lead very slightly after that fiasco with the ball and chain guard, but it is still pretty close going into the sewers here. And this is where they're going to start killing rats, hoping for some kind of bomb drop, as this is probably the best shot they have at getting bombs at this point.
Yeah, there's only one more chest left until they reach the back of escape.
And just a map to Desert Palace.
Oh, Alazun is not getting any drops from the
Pretty
rats.
dry drops from the rats. This is some,
No
this is
drops
not great
and 6
luck.
rats.
Wow. I'll see if Leslie has any better luck. What the heck? That's a little unfair. Come on, game. Cut Alazun a break. There we go.
There you go. He's got one.
There was such a difference there. But fortunately, both of our runners will be able to check the back of escape today, so Alazun will not be missing anything important that Leslie picks up.
Yeah, Alazun will probably try to kill some more rats here for some more bombs because he knows it's a bomb drop pool.
There we go. Just trying to get that supply ready for Kakariko, or potentially South Shore if he opts to go there first. He does have a sword, so he doesn't need excess bombs to take care of Mini Moldarm Cave. It is an option. Doesn't seem to be going for it, though.
Yeah, opts to just stay with one bomb. And there's a flute in Sanctuary, so both runners will probably just go
Yes,
straight
how
to
do you follow
Kakariko.
up anything else at that point? There's only one play to be made here. You just go to Kak.
You might see some divergence in the way to Kakariko, though. Maybe one runner skips the Lumberjack tree and the other one checks it.
Seems both maybe headed in that general direction right now, if Alazun also follows through. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's gonna be rewarded with an 8 bomb drop from Tree Pull.
That'll let him save a little bit of money in Kakariko to purchase the bottle vendor item instead. I always hate having to, like, go to Kakariko with so little money that I have to actually worry about whether I buy more bombs or orphan the bottle vendor.
Yeah, it's always a tough choice to make, but our runners have the flute, so even if they didn't have the bombs or the money, it's easy to come back. And they also get a bottle to check sick kit on their first trip. That's nice.
This is going to be a pretty thorough clear of Kak now. Starting off Kakariko a little bit dry with the blind set, except for that book. Which with the flute would be a pretty nice check over in the desert area of Agina's Cave and Desert Palace itself.
Yeah, they already got the desert map as well, so they could even check if desert's a pendant or a crystal if they wanted to.
Ooh, that's pretty interesting. So hookshot in the back of well with the flute also in our pocket gives us a check of east of the mountain at the very least. We might see our runners try to do some other stuff like South Shore first to see if they can also try to find the hammer to clear out Hera potentially on their first trip up that mountain. But it will be interesting to see if one of them goes for it without going for that.
Alaszun is charging his spin here while activating his flute, which is an interesting strategy because it removes the cooldown on the flute basically, so you can just immediately use it after the spin is gone. But if you don't want to use the flute, like in his case, I'm not sure. Oh, he actually uses the flute.
Oh, he's using it. Okay.
Okay, so he skips the rest of Kag and goes to
Sahasrah's
Sahasrah?
closet, I'm guessing. It's an interesting play. But you don't really have a whole lot left in Kakariko at this point. You've gotten the densest parts of it. It's still not a play you see very often, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to come back to the locations he skipped, though.
We have Green Pendant Ice Palace this seed. That's going to be valuable knowledge. Oh, he might have also decided to come here because it's Map Compass Shuffle. So that gives him a little bit of a heads up on what the Green Pendant is, as well as a Fire Rod out of the back of Sahasrah's closet. So not too bad of a play at all. And
I think he keeps going. I think he's going into Eastern.
Not the worst play in the world. There's 4 items in there guaranteed. At least
Meanwhile,
in Map Compass Shuffle.
Meanwhile, Leslie is showing us what Alaszun skipped, and so far it's been nothing of worth. There's only one item.
But it's going for a blind check of the race game. For a map. And map's not a bad prize in this mode. Oh, except
this map
except in
is,
this
though.
case. This particular map is pretty worthless.
And Leslie is not happy with that one.
Yeah, usually in Map Compass Shuffle, maps are actually pretty worthwhile, as they'll tell you what your pendants and crystals might be. If you pick up the map for a dungeon, you can do a map check and see whether or not that specific dungeon is a pendant or a crystal. But there are 2 maps, Hyrule Castle and Ganon's Tower specifically, that tell you absolutely nothing, because both of those dungeons do not have prizes.
So while Alaszun is still in Eastern Palace, Leslie is showing us South Shore, and none of them have found anything so far. Well, except for the Fire Rod in Saha's closet, yeah.
Which could come into play if Hammer ends up being a thing and then they play up to Hera. But at the moment, the logical implications are not too strong. Get a Master Sword for Leslie out of Minimotum Cave. Not much else. The Master Sword itself is pretty good.
And Alazun also got a useless map in Eastern. He got the Ice Palace map, and he already knows that that one is a green pendant because Hazola told him so.
So not much aside from Master Sword in the South Shore, and not much out of Eastern either.
So our progression is either on Death Mountain or in the Desert Palace area.
Leslie is following up with Eastern though, so they will get their Fire Rod. I'll see where Alazun wants to go next. Going for the mountain play. So knowing what we know anyway as commentators, there's not a hammer on South Shore. So if there is a hammer that would let these runners go to Hera, it is either on East Death Mountain or over near Desert. But Alazun will be missing out on the Master Sword, which would potentially let him check the Ether Tablet if he does end up finding the hammer over on East Death Mountain.
Yeah, and if something important like the Moon Pearl is sitting on there, he might have to do another mountain climb, which is pretty painful if you have to go all the way to East Death Mountain to climb up to get back to West Death Mountain.
Oh, only checking the old man though. And
Oh,
going
he's
back
finishing off
Kakariko.
Kakariko, that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
Leslie's also gonna go into Eastern Palace, so he's also gonna waste some time in there finding nothing.
Okay, Alazun sees the map. Probably not going to go for it. It is a long way to go for just a bit of knowledge.
And he goes for Desert Palace, over South Shore even. Or not, he just checked the ledge and then went for South Shore.
He probably wants to find the glove. In his mind, he hasn't checked to see if Desert is boots locked, so he's potentially only a glove away from clearing it.
Yeah, I can see him doing East of Mountain over Desert Palace at this point. Because we know he's not gonna find a glove here on South Shore.
He's gonna get his Master Sword, and then will be fully equipped for East Death Mountain, should there actually be a hammer up there. But I suspect to see both of our runners heading that way pretty soon, since Leslie's also finishing up their business in Eastern Palace, and has about the same options left on the table that Alazun currently does.
Yeah, both runners are pretty much even on checks. think once Alazun is finished checking Ice Road Cave, they are actually completely even on checks. Oh, no, Leslie hasn't saved the old man. Okay, so they're even on checks.
Alazun also did manage to scout Desert Ledge very, very quickly and briefly. Oh, but Leslie is switching to the book, so it seems they intend to go straight into Desert Palace. Probably hoping to find that hammer before heading up to East Death Mountain, or at least maximize their chance of ensuring they have it by the time they go up there.
Yeah, it's a tough choice to make. Do you want to go to Death Mountain to search for a glove before you go into Desert, or do you want to go into Desert to search for a hammer before you go to Death Mountain?
I'd personally choose Desert over the mountain, because it's a bit less time to come back to Desert than it is to the mountain. Not by much, though. It's pretty lengthy time sink either way, but there is more stuff to find on East Death Mountain. Oh, but it is, for the moment, not boots locked, finding a small key in the center chest. If the big key's on the right side, then we don't need boots at all.
Spectacle Rock is nothing, so it has to be East of Mountain or Desert.
There's our first item at a desert, just 20 rupees. And what do we have here? Is this the big key? It is. So desert is not boots locked, but the other item might be on Landmo, which we currently cannot access.
Ooh, Alazun almost getting killed by the Dead Rock here. And there's the second item in Desert.
Yeah, so Desert, not the answer today.
So it has to be Upper Paradox Cave or Spiral Cave.
Oh no, this is not Compass Shuffle. There's another. There's two more items, of course.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. Well, it's still not the answer.
Yeah. So what are we finding in Paradox Cave then?
It's the hammer.
And the glove. So that is almost Dark World access. Just missing that pearl at this point. And Leslie, not realizing that they don't have a glove, trying to go for the Lenmo fight. We'll see check of Agina's cave here. There's still hope that this could be something interesting.
Yeah, Agina's might still have something. Even the hammer doesn't even give us that much, it just gives us Hera and the Ether Tablet.
I'm feeling a pearl and Ether Tablet in this seed. That's where I think this is going.
It feels like it, yeah.
And just some blue mail out of Agina's cave. So not a very fruitful desert play. Which basically guarantees that whatever we're looking for is over here on top of West Death Mountain.
Oh, it's just a map.
To Eastern. Not a bad one to have. That does, yeah, add a bit of value to
Okay,
the
so we
light
have
check.
2 pendants in Eastern and Desert.
So that's all 3 of our pendants known to us already. So once we gain Dark World access, we can go check the 5/6s at the bomb shop and have full dungeon knowledge. Which is very interesting this early on in the seed.
Leslie's not even gonna waste time to check Spectrock, right? He's just gonna go straight over. Oh no, he's still okay. I thought he's going straight over to East of Mountain because he switched to the hookshot immediately.
The hook shot was in the back of the well. pretty close to the end of the rope here. If it's not in Hera, it's... Oh, okay.
Oh, is it on Armos Knight?
Interesting bow. It could be on Armos Knights, it could also be on Lenmolus at the moment. After this play though, I think the first stop Alazun's going to make is Desert Palace, because he has not set foot in there at all, whereas all he has left in Eastern is Armos.
Yeah, for sure.
Leslie's gonna have an interesting decision to make though, having 2 Pennant Dungeons with only the boss remaining, and if the Moon Pearl's not here on Moldorm, then it's gotta be one of those spots.
No, we still have the basement and Spiral Cave open up here, so there's still a chance,
That's
even
true.
if it's not on Moldor.
I forgot about those 2 spots.
Ooh. A Moldorm death on Alice. Oh no, he has a fairy.
Thankfully,
Okay,
yeah,
he's
that fairy
fine.
from Mini Moldorm Cave saves the day. There we go. Moldorm down, and what do we get? Do we have a Moon Pearl?
Just a big 20.
But he
And yeah,
does
he's
intend
going
to go
for
back
base.
into the basements. In this situation, with as little as Alazun has left, you pretty much don't skip anything.
Yeah, you pretty much have no other choice but to check it. Especially
since
because
you're
it's
threatened.
so painful to get
Yeah,
back
with the
here.
really bad mountain climb without the mirror. Having a bit of trouble setting up his coffee break, but he gets it. Although I don't think he's inside of the cage.
Yeah, I think he has to walk out again, but at least he still doesn't have to do anything right now while the tiles are
Yeah, and he gets a full magic refill
flying in it.
anyway. Alazun?
Maybe it's
You might-
it's a
might be
classic
taking an actual coffee
Hera
break.
toilet break.
Oh,
Oh, was he
I'm-
stuck?
I'm not sure what just happened, but maybe he was stuck?
Yeah, me neither.
That's gonna be really bad if Moon Pearl ends up being in the basement or in Spiral Cave. So for Alazun's sake, he's probably hoping for Pearl on either Lanmo or Armos Knights.
No, he lost quite some progress though.
Oh, he had to reset. Oh, he didn't save. Oh no. Oh, what did he miss?
Oh, so he has to do South Shore again for his Master Sword.
Oh no.
And he has to do all of Death Mountain again.
This is very unfortunate.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for Alazun, and that definitely puts Leslie in the lead right now.
Quite considerably. On Leslie's end of things, though, we are getting down to the remainder, the very small remainder of checks left for that Moon Pearl. We will likely see the basement check as well as Spiral Cave as soon as he finishes off Moldorum. And then, if we're unlucky enough, Leslie might have to pick between Pendant Armos and Pendant Lanmolas as a possible Moon Pearl location.
They're both not really great options to go back to.
A Pearl on Lanmolas could potentially be life-saving here for Alazun and kind of pull him out of this sticky situation he's found himself in. It's probably the best location for the Moon Pearl for Alazun at this moment. And Leslie also seemed to get caught on the outside of the cage there. But they do get their coffee break. That is a possibility, Dark Shadows. Not a terribly likely one, in my opinion, but definitely a possibility. And here we're gonna see Hera Basements. Just a map. Tower of Hera. Very useful.
So much for map and compass shuffle.
Where was the small key again? On Moldorum?
No, I think it was just in the basement cage.
Oh, okay. But they are climbing back out of Hera, so this is definitely a Spiral Cave check we're going to be seeing here from Leslie's end.
Yeah, I think he wanted a Death Ward, but forgot he got a Fairy in Mini Moldum Cave.
It'd be interesting to see if Alazun tries to go for the Spiral Cave check right here and come back for Hera later, knowing there's nothing there. Except for maybe the basement, but it seems he's just going back to Hera.
Yeah, I think in his position he kind of has to. He doesn't have that many spots open, and you can't really just... You can't risk orphaning a Moon Pearl here. It's just too much of a time sink to come back here.
Exactly. So, is it on a pendant boss? It is! Oh boy.
It's either on the Pendant Boss or we have forgotten about King Zora.
Oh, that's true. King Zora is in Logic now with that glove. And they do have enough money for it. But the lack of Moon Pearl and or other items that you can use to splash delete makes the Zora play equally unpleasant.
And Leslie goes for Landmolars. But yeah, all three of his remaining locations are really just not easy to reach, all out of the way, so you just have to pick between three really bad options at this point.
I'm curious why Alazun's going back for these very specific checks here. Oh wait, no, that was the bow in that chest, that's why. I forgot where the bow was.
Oh yeah, right, he had to come back here for the bow. Yeah, he couldn't skip Hera anyway. But yeah, I assume Alazun is gonna follow Leslie into Desert after this, just because he hasn't touched Desert yet.
Alazun does intend to go back in for the basement, though. Not trying to pull any wicked gambles to try to sort of regain some of his time lost.
Yeah, I think it's not the time for those gambles yet. I can see him gamble later once he has Dark Gold access, but before finding Dark Gold access, you just can't afford skipping anything.
Yeah, with as little as you have left. It is still a little bit harder of a decision to make in Alazun's shoes, though, as he has not even set foot in the desert yet, but has the ability to full clear it. Right, so
And
Lemos
Lemos is down.
For a
And it's a hard
heart
container, so it's either Sora or Armos Knights.
Oh boy, what a sequence for this Moon Pearl has been.
And where are we going? Oh, is he?
Seems to be
Is he killing
considering-
Aga?
Leslie did the front of escape, right? I'm fairly certain. No,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was standard.
of
They
course.
both did escape, yeah.
So what's the play here?
Is he going for Dark Aga?
Is he? Oh wow, this is very interesting. Does he mistakenly think that Aga is in logic with only the fire rod?
He might think so.
Well, Alazun may catch up a little bit here thanks to this, because this is an as of yet unrequired Aga 1 climb that Leslie is going for.
Yeah, this is gonna make for an interesting race though, because both runners are gonna feel behind after their plays already, and they're probably both gonna go for some unconventional plays to make up some time.
Yeah, because as it stands, we're already 37 minutes in, and neither player has located the Moon Pearl. They probably can't be feeling too great about that.
Yeah, and the Alazun is going for desert as expected. So he's gonna full the desert and find nothing in here. Meanwhile, Leslie is killing Aga for just one check. So after that, if the Moon Pearl is not on the pyramid, they are basically even, and that they're only down to King Sora and Armor's Knights.
And not only that, but for the Moon Pearl to actually be on Pyramid would require that the lamp be on Zora or Ormos Knights. So this is a very specific situation Leslie is either hoping for, or is simply forgetting that the Fire Rod does not put Aga in logic.
And he gives up on it.
So that is not the greatest thing in the world for Leslie. You walk into Aga Tower and waste a couple minutes like that. That probably doesn't feel great.
Little does he know that his opponent lost even more progress. And is even further behind.
Yeah, despite that, Leslie still maintains his lead by an entire Desert Palace, more or less.
Yeah, and Leslie is doing Armor's Knights over King Sora. That
Understandable.
puts Leslie in an interesting spot because he knows where the third pendant is, and he already gets his second one here. So we might just see an early pedestal gamble from him.
He is gonna need mitts before he can make that happen, but it's not. Yeah, it's not too far outside the realm of possibility that we see one of the players here go for a pedestal pull, because if Alazun follows up with clearing Desert Palace, like this play entails, then he will also probably be heading towards Armos pretty soon.
And if Armos actually has the Moon Pearl, then they have to kill Armos anyway, and then they both have 2 penance already once they have Dark Gold access.
Leslie showing us why this is in logic with just a fire rod.
Yeah, all 3 torches in this room are actually pretty easy to hit. You either turn left or right when you enter the room to hit one of the torches, or you just fire up a couple times until you hit all the enemies in the way and then hit the torch.
Right, so here comes the Armos fight. At the 40-minute mark, we might finally have located our Moon Pearl. Going for an interesting quick kill setup here. And gets it. Very
and
nice.
There it is!
The Moon Pearl. At the 41-minute mark. Contemplates softer setting or saving quitting without the pendant, but just go ahead and pick it up. No reason not to, really.
Yeah, at this point, you don't know what's on pedestal yet. They had the chance to check it for like 40 minutes because the book was just in Kakariko, but none of them opted to yet.
Alright.
And we're going straight for Hype Cave. Meanwhile, Alazun finishing Desert Palace, so now he's also down to King Sora and Armor's Knights. So we'll see if he chooses King Sora over Armor's Knights and shows us a different check.
Let's see where he goes. 5 or 8. Going to 4. Okay, this I know where this is going. Yeah. Alazun is going to splash delete. And yeah. So he's going to last location that Moon Pearl pretty badly. Meanwhile, on Leslie's end, not a whole lot in Hype Cave, as we've all grown accustomed to.
And gets the splash deletion, and we saw the 3rd medallion on Lake Hali Island.
And we get our final dungeon knowledge. With the 5-6 crystals this time being in Thieves Town and Misery Mire.
Oh, it's a nice sequence broken sword, though.
For a play that's not exactly going to fully pay off in a Moon Pearl, he's getting a decent amount of value out of this. Tempered, knowledge of the remaining medallion. Might get some more on Zora or Zora Ledge, both of which are accessible to Alazun right now, if out of logic for Zora Ledge. Though he will have to orphan Waterfall Cave without a Moon Pearl.
Meanwhile, Leslie is going for a classic Dark World opener of just going from Hype Cave to Dig Game. I assume he's gonna go for Village of Outcasts next. Can clear he can clear Skullwoods and Thieves Town, so it's not a bad choice to go there after that.
Alazun apparently forgetting he does not have a Moon Pearl and cannot actually get those items. Yeah, Leslie going for the standard follow-up to a South Dark World play with just going straight to Kakariko, or to Village of Outcasts, rather.
This might be a chance for him to check pedestal because you have to go the long way around to the portal anyway, so the pedestal is not that far off, so he might opt to check it here.
Being
Because since he can clear Skullwoods already and doesn't have the mirror... Okay, no. But yeah, since you can clear Skullwoods already and you don't have the mirror, there's no way you can ever route in the pad check anymore after you killed Mothula. So if you want to check it, you have to commit a separate check for it.
Otherwise, we're looking at a blind pull.
Which is not that unlikely with, with 2 pendants already. And Alashun is gonna... Last location is Moon Pearl on Armos Knights.
On Ice Armos, huh? How to get over there?
This is secretly entrance shuffle, I heard.
It's been a very vanilla entrance shuffle seed. But little did we know that Eastern Palace is actually Ganon's tower. Leslie opting for the Skullwoods play before the Thieves' Town play, or rather the Village of Outcasts play. It's going to be a bit awkward to come back from killing Mothula, because you gotta walk back all the way through the entire dungeon. Just takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, but if the big key's in the bag, you kind of have to anyway, because you want to check the big chest. And it makes sense to do Skullwoods before Thieves' Town, because if you do Village of Outcasts, you really want to have the mids to do the mid-slot stuff in there as well. So, at least from my perspective, it always makes sense to delay Village of Outcasts a bit and try to find the mids first. We'll see if the mids are here in Skullwoods or if they're in Village of Outcasts and Pod. We have a lot of options where the mids could be.
Yeah. Although we have pretty much eliminated every single Light World possibility, having seen the flipper checks from Allaszun's end. It will be interesting to see possibly a little divergence though once Allaszun gets his Moon Pearl here. He might opt for a Hype Cave over to Pod play.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he goes for a different choice and not the obvious one, because he wants to make up time. He needs to make up time because of his unfortunate mishap.
Seems unsure what to do next. Possibly just considering his options before he finally settles on something. Moth fight
And
finally
Moth
over on Leslie's
down
end.
for Leslie.
Not much of a reward for it though, aside from the crystal. Allaszun forgetting.
Oh, he's going for Hoolihan because he needs pod money.
So he does plan on Pod after this then.
We're gonna see some divergence here.
Not even picking up all the money. He's got his 110. He's good. Or
I'm even checking Hype
not
Cave.
going
He's
for
just going
pod.
straight to pod.
Oh wow, that's pretty bold, but it is going to pay off for him if something's here. Because Hype Cave was not so hype today. This is exactly the kind of play he needs to work for him if he wants to make a bit of a comeback in this race.
Yeah, he doesn't know it, but it's actually the correct call.
Meanwhile, Skullwood's not really paying out that much for Leslie.
Yeah,
Only one or
Skullwood
two more items left to find.
was pretty empty so far. I think there's only one item left now. Oh, get scrapped by the Wall Master.
That's a bit unfortunate. It's quite a trip back around. Or no, he has the extra small key, so he can just walk straight into the room. So it's not that bad. Oh, and it
Oh,
was
it's
just
another
a small
key.
Maybe
Okay,
we
then
miscounted
we
dungeon
miscounted.
items. Yeah.
We all miscounted, apparently.
So far in Palace of Darkness, though, not a whole lot of bow lock going on, and in this kind of situation where you absolutely want the bow to lead to something in pod, the sooner you get bow locked, the better, because it implies more items are locked behind that bow.
Yeah, but at this point, everything in the Dark World is locked behind the bow anyway because of a Moon Pearl.
That is a fair point.
And first item in pod is just arrows. So none of our runners has found anything in the last like 10 minutes, I think.
Definitely gonna have to start seeing something show up soon. At the moment, it seems that Leslie's got a bit of a lead on Alazun right now, due to an unfortunate accident Alazun had in Hera Basement, causing him to reset his game and lose a substantial amount of progress. But he's working pretty hard to catch up, and he's almost to that point.
And we have Flippers in Thieves Town, which only unlocks 2 more checks right now because we've already seen Sorrel Edge, but we have not seen Waterfall Ferry yet. Oh, and there's the
Ooh.
mids in pod.
So that was exactly the play Alazun wanted.
Yeah, I'm curious if he just goes all in and goes Ice Palace next.
That would definitely be a very, very bold play to make. But I could see it happening. You can't not feel behind both last locationing your Pearl at, what, 46 or 47 minutes? And also having that resetting issue and losing progress. You gotta feel pretty desperate in that situation.
Yeah, and
That, like,
the
maybe-
mids in pod are probably a step in the right direction for him.
It'll all come down to whether or not he thinks that's enough to start, or rather to stop gambling. Alazun making it through the dark maze. Since without a mirror and with blue mail, it's kind of difficult to set up a depth warp unless you're thinking about it ahead of.
Yeah, especially if it's dark and you can't really see the enemies to run into. And Leslie finds the last sword in the Thieves on Big Chest.
So assuming they follow up with the flipper checks, which I imagine is what's coming next, they will have that full level 4 sword. Slightly off script the blind fight on Leslie's end, but making it through with very little issue. And the boots as a reward
boots.
is pretty substantial. Not hard required from anything that we've seen so far, but we are still missing 3 items: Ice Rod, Cane, and Mirror that might be locked behind those somewhere. This does give Leslie a good number of overworld options compared to what else they have left, which is at this point pretty much just pod.
Yeah, I assume we'll just check Bonk Rocks and then also go for pod. It's a crystal dungeon you have to do anyway at some point, and it's a pretty dense location still, so why not go for it?
You also gotta be wondering though what the logical significance of those flippers might be at this point in the seed. I could see definitely going for the Zora play before going for pod, just on the off chance that happens to be your mitts. But going right for pod, so they will get their mitts very shortly. Alazun, meanwhile, having a very nice Helma fight, finishing up in this dungeon that Leslie's about to walk into. And
Oh, and
gets
the mirror as well.
Ooh.
Okay, so after pod we have tons of options.
That's gonna let Alazun route pretty efficiently over in Village of Outcasts. Considering he hasn't even touched Hype Cave yet, I'm thinking at this point, his best option is probably just go straight to Village of Outcasts, do Thieves Town, and head south. As that is all
Yeah,
of a sudden
I can
a lot.
see that. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. And he will get rewarded with the flippers, which also gives him the option of just going straight into Swamp Palace if he routes south.
He's going for Skullwoods first, though. It's probably the thing to do here. And you mirror and check Pet as well while you're here.
Yeah, that's
That will
something
give him the
Alashun
option.
can do.
That will give him the option after Swamp Palace to potentially head into Ice Palace if he knows he needs to.
Leslie's gonna have an easier time in pot though because he has boots. So the boots and thieves are gonna save him some time in there.
It's really unfortunate where that mirror was, though, because it means you absolutely have to do pod in a very boring and time-consuming way. Alazun enjoying the benefits of that mirror, though. Save him a bit of time in Skullwoods. And it's going to save him a bit of extra time in doing Village of Outcasts and whatnot. As well as net him anything potentially important on Smith Chain. Thanks to also having those mitts. Whereas
Yeah,
Leslie
Smith Chain
currently has not a lot of reason to go back to Village of Outcasts.
Yeah,
once
it's
they find
usually a
their-
tough call to go back for Smith Chain, especially if you have dungeons open.
Yeah, so something on Smith Chain could really swing the race in Alazun's favor here. But there are just a lot of options as well. There's Darkness Mountain, you have Ice Palace, you have Swamp.
Yeah, we also have Mire because we have 2 medallions. We know what the third one is, and we can grab it right now. And as soon as we find a cave, we also have all of Turbo Rock except for Trimax. In which case, we're again down to an Ice Rod hunt.
Dread it, run from it, the Ice Rod hunt still arrives. So with Moth taken down, we are 100% seeing a pedestal check right here.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if one of your remaining items is on there and you have the knowledge over your opponent, then you can just go with Ice Palace. That saves so much time over just blindly checking Ice Palace or Pedestal at some point later.
So here it comes. What are we gonna see? Alazun really wants to find something here, or on Smith Chain. Both would be very good for him. Okay, but just
It's a compass.
Yeah. So that's good for Leslie, though, having pretty much orphaned the pedestal check at this point.
Yeah. At this point, I'm curious if one of them is still thinking about going into Ice Palace, just because they have so many options that Ice Palace really becomes like a big gamble.
Yeah, and it's possible that, like, even Leslie might think he's still behind in this situation, not knowing what happened to Alazun. So when you're thinking you're behind, and you've already got 2 pendants, do you consider it worth it to dive Ice Palace in Leslie's shoes? When you have so many potential options on the table.
pretty risky move. Especially because after Pod, he's gonna be able to full their Swamp Palace as well, because he's gonna get the mirror.
Right.
And you probably pick a Crystal Dungeon with 8 items over a Pendant Dungeon with 5, well, 6 if you count Green Pendant. Or 7
Yes,
if you
pretty
count
much.
Pedestal.
Pretty much the only thing you can guarantee about that play is that your opponent is not going to be making it, and that's about the only good thing. So if there does end up being something there, you have a significant advantage. But it's also just so unlikely that it's probably just not worth it when you have so many other incredible options.
Oh, and Leslie has
Leslie...
too much trouble in the dark room and gives up for now. So he's
So
missing
that's-
out on the mirror.
That's actually really bad for Leslie. Not only missing out on that crystal clear that Alazun managed to pull off, but the mirror as well.
But that means that the lamp can't be too deep. Because they need the mirror sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Lamp can't be anywhere in Swamp Palace. And it's one of the biggest locations up on the table at this point. And I didn't keep track of...
there it
there
is!
I was about to say, I didn't keep track of where the small keys and pod were, but...
Oh, an
knowing that the
immediate
mids-
save and quit. I think he's just going back. He's just going back for a Helmless or King.
Makes sense. So fairly easy to locate lamp right there then. And yeah. So this actually does hand quite a bit of time back to Alazun though.
Yeah, I
Because
think
Alazun is now caught up on
yeah.
crystals.
they are
And
pretty
so-
much even once they are finished with their respective bosses in their dungeons.
So this has actually come back to a pretty neck and neck pace. Both are not yet equipped with the same items, but after Leslie kills Helmasaur, they will have the same equipment. And all of the pretty much the exact same options. Alazun is still down the South Darkworld checks that Leslie has already taken care of. But those routes so cleanly and smoothly with the Smith chain that it's really not going to be a significant factor at all, I think.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna see both runners going into Swamp next. Alazun will probably take a while until he gets there because he has so many overworld checks on the way, which are just pretty efficient to check right now if you're in the area. But Leslie checked most of them except for the mirror spots and the Smith chain, which is kind of inconvenient to check if you just want to do Swamp Palace. So Leslie will probably be in Swamp a bit sooner if they both decide to just go for Swamp next.
Leslie caught between deciding if they want a Death Orb or not. Okay, going for it then. Saves him a little time. Alazun gets his level 4 sword from Deepstown Big Chest and is not going to have much of an issue with anything else in the rest of the game. It seems as though Alazun is going to finish off blind before Leslie gets as far as Helmasaur. So he'll have a little bit of extra time after picking up his 4th crystal to catch up on some of the stuff that Leslie has already taken care of in the overworld.
Yeah, but he will be able to do it more efficiently because he can just route it in with the mirror.
And also with
Or well, he
boots.
can route in K45 with the mirror. Which Leslie still has to check as a one-off, more or less.
And having
If he
those,
decides to even check it.
having those boots as well will also make it go a little bit faster than it did for Leslie. Since they went they did the south route before going to Village of Outcasts.
True. Oh, not even gonna bother with the rest of Village of Outcasts. Alazun is floating away.
Not even Smith Chain, which is interesting.
Nope, they're
Straight for
going
Swamp
straight into
Palace.
Swamp Palace. Okay.
He has pretty much gambled that the entire overworld is complete junk, which I mean isn't an indefensible play in Map Compass Shuffle. It is true that the overworld is quite a bit less potentially important in Map Compass Shuffle because there's just so much more value in dungeons.
Yeah, and it's a completely understandable play from his position. He wants to skip as much as possible to make up time for the time he lost by losing like 5 minutes worth of progress.
Yeah. So assuming nothing is on Smith Chain, he has actually taken the lead now by about a minute or two.
And Helmadon on Leslie's side, so he's also gonna get the mirror, and we'll see if he also takes the mirror straight to Swamp Palace.
Let's see where he decides to flute. I could also see Dark Death Mountain being a check, but no.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's the
straight to
flute
Swamp.
to 4. So we're basically doing the same now. So Alazun is slightly ahead.
So for both runners, though, we are looking for, since we're all on the same page right now, both runners have the exact same items as far as potential progression goes. Both runners are only missing the Cane and the Ice Rod at this point. And potentially Ether as well, but we know where that is. It's very easy
Yeah,
to
I'm
get.
not sure if Leslie also knows where it is, but Alazun checked it while fake flippering to Hobo.
Leslie has not done flipper checks. I'm fairly certain of that. So I do not think Leslie actually knows where the Ether Medallion is.
Yeah, but I can see him doing the flipper checks right after Swamp Palace. It just routes pretty well from Swamp Palace over to just blind pull the item from the island.
You do have a choice as well of going over for Bombo's tablet, but compared to the flipper checks, it's not quite as good. Or we could just go over there, grab it, and run back, but where's the fun in that? Alazun going straight back first, having found 2 items in the first 2 checks. Hoping for the somewhat unlikely... Oh wait, this is Map Compass Shuffle.
Yeah, there's always 2
guaranteed
items on left side.
2 items. Okay, yeah. Still going back first, I believe, is the right play here. Just because there's a larger chance... Like, you're still 2 items for go mode, but there's a larger chance of finding both of them back here than on left side. Plus, the potential of the big key being on Argus is also a factor.
And I think if you find like your cane in here, you just say, okay, that's good enough. Let's leave left side. If you find nothing, do your return for left side though.
In
I can see Alazun
shoes,
skip that.
I could see it, yeah. I could see either one, and I could see justification for either one too. So is Leslie going to go for the same routing here? No, opting for left side first. So they might end up finding something that Alazun potentially skips depending on what his game plan is after Argus. Very clean phase 2 Argus kill.
It's just a compass. But we'll see if it's going back in or if it just says, no, there's nothing in here, let's do something else.
This is potentially what will make the game right here.
Yeah, he's skipping it. He's going for Bomble's tablet.
So if Leslie finds something right here on left side, then that's a pretty huge deal. And it is unlikely Alazun's going to come back to it for a long time.
Nothing on the tablet. I think he might route north to Village of Outcasts now.
Got the big key on left side, naturally.
Oh no, he's checking Hype Cave. He hasn't checked Hype Cave, right?
Ah, yeah, that's true.
And the blue
Oh,
ruby.
there's $5. So if there's something, it's in the big chest. Moment of truth.
And it's nothing.
So
Okay, so Alazun got away with skipping left side. So that actually means Alazun is taking a firm lead right now.
by about 3 or 4 minutes, I'd say. Pretty decent. He's going to come grab his ether though, and probably also follow up with Waterfall Fairy, which he orphaned a while ago, thanks to not having the Pearl. Does he plan to go to Ice Palace now? Oh no, he's
floating away.
without picking up Waterfall Fairy. Interesting.
He's going for Dark Death Mountain. So yeah, Alazun's gambles are paying off so far. He's made up a lot of ground by skipping a lot of stuff that he did not have to check because it has nothing.
He has also skipped some stuff that we haven't seen from either runner yet, though. Such as
That's
the entire
true.
Smith chain plus K45. So potentially it still bites him.
Yeah, if one of his orphan spots actually ends up having something and he has to go back to all the stuff he skipped, then he's in a rough shape. So all of a sudden.
We'll definitely have to see what Leslie does after Swamp Palace, because they will be poised to potentially go take care of some of the checks that Alazun's left behind. Namely K45, Waterfall Fairy. And I don't see him going to Smith Chain directly from here, but those two at the very least I definitely could see. Here we have the dense spot of Dark Death Mountain, Hookshot Cave. This is where Alazun's really hoping to find something. But isn't finding very much.
Just a mail upgrade, but does not really help him.
So probably his next move from here would be Mire area, if I had to guess. He still has not been over for Mire Shed. He hasn't checked checkerboard, so that's 3 items from the outside and potentially 4 items from inside Misery Mire as well.
Yeah, I can see him do that. I can also still see him just go into Ice Palace. I think this is gonna be a Smith chain play. No. Oh, it's a pedestal check from Leslie. Okay.
Ah, so Leslie's also thinking about Ice Palace right now. And I mean, it very well could be the answer. We're still looking for 2 whole items. That's not unreasonable.
Meanwhile, Alazun is getting fully geared up with the mirror shield as well. He has the level 4 sword, the level 3 shield, the level 3 mail now.
Alright, so he's got his flute. He's not going to be checking Bonk Rocks or King's Tomb, interestingly enough.
Now we're going
Yep,
straight
there's
into
Mire.
Mire. And yeah, it looks like Leslie is gonna go for Smith chain here. So if that is something, Alazun's in trouble.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that could have something that would leave Alazun in a bit of trouble right now.
Yep. Alazun is basically banking on finding the progression, the spots he doesn't skip.
Now, we have not actually seen Checkerboard Cave from Leslie, because he went to Mire area without the mirror earlier. So this could be something interesting? Not exactly, okay.
We're gonna see Bumper Ledge, which is also nothing. We might also see Graveyard Ledge here.
Yeah, this is definitely a Graveyard, Bonk Rocks, and King's Tomb check here.
And Alazun, as you predicted, is gonna dive into Mire.
Nothing in Graveyard Ledge. Bit of a rusty Mire too from Alazun.
It's also
but
nothing
not
in
much
King's Tomb.
King's Tomb.
So that's some more skips of Alazun that just pay off.
Did Leslie check Bonk Rocks? Or did I
He
miss
did
it?
earlier, yeah.
Okay, okay. Opting not to go for the catfish check though, abandoning his portal at Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah, but going back into Village of Outcasts, so he still wants to check Smith Chain.
This is something Allison was in a very, very good position to check earlier. So if there's something here, that's pretty bad for him. For Leslie, you're coming back here hoping that something's here because you've already orphaned it pretty much. This is the only reason you'd come back here. So even in Leslie's shoes, probably doesn't feel the greatest to end up finding something here because you're down to very little else.
Yeah, we're pretty much down to Smith Chain, Mire, and Ice Palace, and I think Pyramid and Catfish have not been checked either.
I believe that's correct. So how much does Alazun regret skipping Smith Chain today?
Well, Smiths themselves don't really have anything.
Still do have Hammer Pegs, Cave 45, and Purple Chest to look forward to, though.
Well, still nothing.
On Allison's end, not a whole lot out of the cutscene chest, which I believe brings it up to 2 items so far out of Meyer.
Think so.
One more unknown check from Leslie.
Also not K45.
Not much left in Meyer either, just a big chest at this point.
Oh, there it is on
the
purple chest.
cane on purple chest. So that's a little bit of wasted time in here for Alazun and Misery Meyer. Since he dove without cane, and Leslie is going straight to Meyer with the cane.
Yeah, that means
Still gonna full clear it looking for Ice Rod, but it's gonna save a bit of time not having to double dip.
Yeah, that means Leslie is just Ice Rod for go mode, and we'll probably just see Meyer into Turtle Rock from him.
This is potentially good for Alazun if the Ice Rod isn't actually cane lock, though. Because right now, he's headed over to Ice Palace because he's got very few other options. So if he manages to find the Ice Rod before the cane, he could still come back from this.
Yeah, there's still a chance for him, but having Orphan Smith Chain, it's tough to come back for him right now.
Yeah, it's definitely going to take a good bit of luck to make this come back. That Ice Rod's got to be somewhere nasty for Leslie. Because at the moment, Leslie is sitting in a pretty good position overall. If the Ice Rod ends
Chad
up
made a
being in
pretty
the direct
good
path.
point. If Turtle Rock requires Ether, Leslie doesn't know Ether is on Lake Halia, so he might just have forgotten about checking that, and that could cost Leslie some more time.
That is an excellent point. If Leslie hasn't even gone down to do Zora checks.
But yeah, I think Alazun pretty much needs an Ice Rod and Ice Palace now to have a shot.
That is definitely looking like his best chance for victory here. Because on Leslie's end of things, you're probably following up the Meyer play with a Darkness Mountain play, check the Turtle Rock Medallion, and then dive in after checking Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny if you have the medallion.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm
they're gonna have to come back down.
expecting.
Yeah. If it is Ether, they'll have to come back down and hunt for that again, but it won't take them very long, I think.
Yeah, since he has not touched Zora area or the Flippers checks at all, it's still one of the densest spots you have left, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's just his first check after checking the mountain.
So Alazun finally through the long, very empty part of Ice Palace at the very beginning. Gonna finally see some items here. Potentially one of them the Ice Rod.
No ice rod so far.
Still 3 items left.
Meanwhile, Leslie finished
meanwhile-
clearing out Meyer. He's on its way to the boss now.
That small key is going to make things a bit easier for Alazun riding through Ice Palace here. Gonna be able to drop right down and take care of Ice Tea Room. But right now, Leslie is on pretty much a straight path to Turtle Rock after this video kill. Which, if they're lucky, it just ends up having the Ice Rod, and then it's just a straight shot from here to the end of the seed.
And it's, at this point, pretty likely that the ice rod is just in Turtle Rock, because we don't have that much else left.
I'm fairly certain that's all we've got left after Ice Palace and the Green Pendant.
I think we still have Pyramid and Catfish and Pyramid Fairy left.
Yeah, that's true. That might be something that Leslie opts to do if they end up searching for Ether, or if they don't go straight to Turtle Rock after clearing Meyer here. Things not looking too great for Alazun though. Only down to the Cold Stare item as well as the Green Pendant item. It's not looking as though things are moving in his favor. If Ice Rod is not either here or on the Green Pendant, then it is, I'm willing to say that at this point that it is Leslie's seed to lose.
Yeah, pretty much. And Leslie is done with Vitrius, so he's up to 6 crystals now, and probably on his way to Turtle Rock in a second.
And it's not on Cold Stare.
Yeah, I still gotta check a board gate before going to Turtle Rock, I assume. Yeah, what does Alazun do from here? He's also pretty
Definitely
low on
Green Pendant
spots.
first. There's no way you don't follow up with Green Pendant after a play like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
You turn in the Green Pendant, but after that...
after that, you might just go back for Smith Chain. Either that, or you go Pyramid to Catfish.
I think Smith Chain might actually be the most attractive option for him at this point.
But Leslie is going for the Pyramid Fairy play right now, before going straight to Turtle Rock. Possibly hedge their bets picking up
It
the
makes sense. He has not checked anything in that area, and he can route it together with Sora, and he really wants to prevent a double dip into Turtle Rock, apparently, which I don't fault him for. If you have so much overworld left open, you want to be kind of cautious and not miss your ice rod in the overworld. And it's
the
not
Ice
Green
Palace
Pendant.
play is a total bust. That's really bad for Alazun. And with Leslie being very cautious before their TR play, I'd say it's definitely their seed to lose now.
Yeah,
really leaving
Leslie
anything
doesn't know
behind.
it, but he's playing it completely right here. He's just playing it super safe, and that's just the correct approach when you're ahead. But obviously, you can never know that you're ahead.
Exactly. It would take something a bit strange like Leslie deciding to go to Ice Palace in order for Alazun to even remotely catch up here. But I just do not see that happening. It is not Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, that means we're down to
And-
Catfish and Turtle Rock.
But both of them are going for Catfish, so if it's there, then it's not a real advantage for Alazun. Or okay. Leslie, I guess
Oh,
opting
he's
for
gonna get his sword.
Hobo. Yeah, Hobo and Hylia Island, it looks like. But this might push them off a Catfish for a little while.
Now, Alaszun is opting to buy some potions on his way to Catfish. But yeah, this also means that Leslie is most likely gonna grab his ether here and... Or not. Or he's going to Catfish now. Okay, so
Just
maybe
returning the
maybe
cat.
he's...
Oh,
No,
okay,
he's going this way, okay.
the other way.
He's taking the land route. Which is probably faster if you have boots.
And it's not Catfish.
Yeah, so
It's
that
Turtle Rock.
confirms it's in Turtle Rock.
Leslie going for the portal though. Definitely trying to avoid leaving Catfish behind. Or not. There we go. Just checking Zora's domain, but without the Catfish check. So not playing 100% safe, but it's not going to bite them either if they choose to go straight to Turtle Rock after this.
Yeah, as long as they don't dive into Ice Palace, they're completely fine.
Meanwhile, we're seeing all of Alaszun's skips coming back to bite him a little bit. Gradually going through each and every one of them. Looking for whatever it is he missed.
Yeah, as soon as he finds the cane, he's gonna rush Mire and Turtle Rock, I assume. He's not even gonna bother with Pyramid Fairy at that point, I would assume. But it's probably not gonna be enough, because Leslie is most likely on his way to Turtle Rock now.
I don't see any other play coming from Leslie. Yeah, this is definitely a Turtle Rock play.
Yeah, that gives Leslie a very sizable lead over Allaszun right now. So this is absolutely Leslie's race to lose.
Alaszun is making the return to Village of Outcasts, though.
Yeah, we can see even skip chess game. He tried to make up so much time by skipping stuff, but unfortunately one of the things he skipped actually has the cane.
His play right after Thieves Town was ridiculously aggressive, but I don't blame him in the slightest. He definitely
it almost
needed
paid
something
off
like that. It really did. If Kane was somewhere slightly more on the way, then he would probably have a gigantic lead right now.
Yeah, he's gonna get his cane somewhat soon now. I would assume he's gonna do Dig Game into Smith into Hammer Pack's purple. But that still gives Leslie like a, I would say 7-8 minute lead, maybe even a bit more.
Yeah, very difficult to come back from this for Alazun. And as long as Leslie keeps playing the way they have, and not having any kind of repeat of what potentially happened in Pod, then they've absolutely got this lockdown. Even GT routing could not make it up.
Yeah, I don't think a successful tower gamble would win Alazun this race at this point.
On the plus side, once he finds his cane in the next 1 or 2 minutes or so, he only has to go straight to Vitreous. And then follow up with Turtle Rock. If he does that, then it'll take him maybe 5 or 6 minutes to catch up to where Leslie is now.
Yeah, about. He has to go through all of Misery Mire to kill Vitreous. He has to climb the mountain.
Yeah,
He still has to return Purple Chest, yeah.
Assuming he skips everything else he has left after finding the cane just to follow the cane, then he's about 5 or 6 minutes behind. But that being said, he also doesn't have a lot left. He's taken care of most of it before making his way back around to Smith's.
Yeah, I think after that, the only other thing he has left is the chest he skipped in Swamp Palace. And
There
there
it
it is.
is. That's go mode for Leslie at 1:43. And Alazun is going to be about 5 or 6 minutes behind there.
Yeah, he's getting his cane here. And now he just has to kill Vitreous and then follow Leslie in the turtle.
Be curious to see if Leslie does any more residual checking here and there to see it try to find silvers. Because we still have yet to find the other bow anywhere, despite checking pretty much everything outside of GT at this point.
It's gonna check the big chest apparently, so he doesn't want to risk getting key locked. And gets another small key, so he can opt to just skip everything else now if he wants to.
It just comes down to if he wants to keep searching for silvers. Laser Bridge is about as good as a go mode check will get for that kind of thing.
And he skips even
Oh,
that chest,
yeah.
so I guess
He's
he's
not
gonna
even
skip
going-
Laser Bridge as well.
Yeah. If you skip that chest, yeah. You're
Yeah,
just
I mean, if
done
you're
for it.
confident in your silverless, I don't think you're gonna go out of your way to find silvers. It's just not worth your time. Especially if you have gold sword.
Plus, and you also got to consider this too. There's also the possibility that Leslie is actually feeling behind in this situation, not knowing what happened to Alazun.
Oh, absolutely. I'm pretty sure both runners are feeling
More or
pretty
less
far
checking
behind.
everything. Yeah. I don't think it's a situation in which either one of them feels ahead right now. Very nice phase 1 of Trinex. And a very nice dash Vidi fight from Alazun. Both of them making very quick work of these two bosses.
Yeah, so Alazun is pretty much an entire mountain climb and Turtle Rock behind right now. And we get a nice half magic from Trinex, as if we needed even more safeties.
So there's a certain game we like to play sometimes with Link to the Past as we have one runner approaching GT. There are 22 possible locations for the Ganon's Tower Big Key, and sometimes we like to try to guess where that location is. Where do you think I might be hiding today, Drac?
Well, as an avid Dark Magician router, it's obviously Stalfo's room. So I would say, well, if he goes right, it's gonna be like 6.
I'm feeling bottom left rando room. Specifically bottom left. Okay, never
nope,
mind.
it's just the
Okay,
first
never
chest,
mind.
okay.
That was quick. So if you guessed the number 1, congratulations, you are a winner. Leslie gonna go ahead and grab this extra free pot key instead of grabbing the one from the mini helmet at the very top. Very slight time save, but definitely one worth having when you're feeling probably as behind as Leslie's feeling right now.
Yeah, little does he know that he's an entire dungeon ahead.
Might be even more stressful too with that specific big key location. Like if you're feeling behind and you walk into GT hoping to make up time on GT routing and it's just in Hope Room, like how do you feel about that?
Yeah, you just hope that your opponent did Dark Magician and wasted like 40 seconds.
And even then, that's not a whole lot of time to catch up on. So at that point, you pretty much got to be hoping you're ahead.
And Leslie's pulling out one of my favorite weapons for the gauntlet. If you have half magic in the fire rod, the gauntlet just feels awesome because you can just burn half of the enemies in there with one shot.
Very nice Landmo fight by Leslie. Not quite getting it in one cycle, but not having too much difficulty beyond that. Alazun, meanwhile, finally in go mode himself. Forgetting to steal the Poke Key before continuing onward. And we actually did not see for sure on Leslie's end whether or not you do need to check the big chest. Because he didn't check for anything else, he just took his 2 small keys and went. So it's still possible.
Yeah, true.
It's still possible.
There's a chance.
Is the bad call here. Generally, it's extremely unlikely that in this situation, skipping the big chest doesn't work out. Most of the time you can. I'd say at least greater than 90%. But occasionally you just get the combination of small key and lava chest, small key and big chest, and you just get locked out in front of laser bridge.
Yeah, and then you either have to walk out of laser bridge and walk back so you can mirror back the laser bridge, or you mirror back to the beginning of Turtle Rock and do it all over again.
Yeah, either one of those is pretty nasty to deal with. And it's not in Crystal Roller Room, so let's hope for Alazun's sake he does find another small key on laser bridge. Leslie, though, making very quick work of Moldorm 2. He's going to head on up to the Aga 2 fight next. Not finding any silvers, but that's okay. He's got red mail, 14 hearts, gold sword. You really don't need silvers. Half magic as well from Trinex.
Meanwhile, Alazun finds all kinds of stuff on laser bridge. And
There's
a small key. So...
Okay. So it doesn't bite him. Saves a bit of time skipping that big chest over Leslie.
And Aga 2 down for Leslie. So we only have to fight Ganon, and then Leslie can walk away as the winner here.
Another very quick phase 1 of Trinex from Alazun. Leslie, though, dropping into Ganon with only 4 hearts is potentially a little bit concerning, even with red mail. And I don't know if they actually have any safeties on hand. Oh, 2 hearts now.
Oh yeah, he has a red.
He's got a red potion.
He's fine.
So this game should be securely in Leslie's pocket right now.
Yeah, he can take as much time as he needs in this fight now. Alright, Alazun is opening GT. Meanwhile, Leslie is almost in phase 4 already.
And the silvers were just in Ganon's tower. Not like they could have been really anywhere else, considering how much ended up getting checked.
And Alazun is going for Dark Magician, I think. Yeah, he has not checked Hope Room.
Yeah. I mean, you simply just don't even go this way if you've already checked Hope Room. Oh,
yeah, except for the key, yeah. So maybe Alazun finds the silvers here.
Not quite.
Nope, they're
Almost.
deeper.
Found 10 arrows instead. Yeah, Alazun's about to get the news that GT routing is not going to save him any time in this seed.
No, if
Probably
only it
not
cost him
feeling great about that.
even more than he already lost throughout the seed.
And that is it for Leslie. GG's.
Yeah, GG to Leslie, who takes this best of 3 of Alison and advances to the winners finals.
Sending
this group.
Alison down to the elimination match. I don't know who either of their prospective next opponents will be. Do we have a bracket on hand somewhere that we can take a look at? Okay, yes. So Leslie Pro, having taken this set over Alazun, moves on to winners finals to face off against Scandalous Nabs, and Alazun falls into the elimination round to face Lady Box Thief, both of which will be best of 3. So we have much more to look forward to from both.
And we have 4 of them in here for an interview. GG's, guys.
GG's. That was a scene.
GG's. Yeah, I felt behind for just about all of that because basically I second to last location the Moon Pearl, and at that point I'm thinking to myself, oh no, here we go again.
It could have been worse. Could have last location the Moon Pearl and second to last location Kane. And also lost like 10 minutes because your controller died and you thought you had hardlocked, so you reset away a bunch of progress. Lots of fun times.
Extremely unfortunate to watch. We were like, I was so confused, like looking at that. You were just standing completely still. I was like, okay, did something happen? Is he stuck in the blocks? I didn't know you could get pinched in between the block and the wall right there. That's what I had thought happened.
That's exactly what I thought happened. I'm like, wow, I didn't know I could hardlock myself here, but I must have done it, and it's just like not responding to anything, and so I'm like, well, I'm just gonna hard reset. And then I start spamming start to get back in the game, and it's not working, and then I realized, oh god, it was just my controller. And I literally could have saved it by just like going in and setting some keyboard binds to save and quit out or something like that, and just skip the stuff that was up there that I had left. But shit happens.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
Very, very, very tilt-worthy, though, and I don't think it really manifested in any major ways, but definitely was kind of chipping at my execution over the course of the seed, which is unfortunate.
I think it manifested pretty majorly when after Thieves Town you just decided not to check any Village of Outcasts.
Sorry. It manifested in terms of the way I routed the seed, but it didn't. I think the execution hit was in minor ways rather than doing things like dying to bosses I shouldn't and stuff like that.
Yeah, all of it definitely came through in your routing decisions this seed, I think.
But I felt incredibly behind, and so just started gambling my absolute ass off, hoping that I could hit on something, and just went hard after basically any dungeon I could find, and just didn't pay out.
Yeah,
I mean, you caught him a good bit in the mid game there. I think
you were the
5
first
or
one in
6
Swamp,
minutes
actually.
apart. Yeah, you were 5 or 6 minutes apart getting your Moon Pearl. Leslie obviously getting it first, but with all the stuff you skipped, you actually made it into Swamp Palace before Leslie did. Both of you having the same 4 crystals. And the same items too.
And I probably would have been about the same pace. Like, we probably would have been neck and neck if I just, like, if I was routing that seed normally, I go from Thieves Town, clear the rest of Village of Outcasts to Smith's Chain on my way down to Swamp, and then I find my Cane and probably just do Swamp into Mire into Turtle Rock and I'm good. But unfortunately that is not how it happened.
It was definitely the Cane that decided this race, though. Leslie started playing it safe. Didn't opt to go to Ice Palace, instead decided to do what little of the overworld they had remaining. And Smith Chain was one of the first things they took care of after the North Dark World, I think, and ended up getting their Kane going straight to Mire, and then continuing to play it a bit more safe.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. If I didn't find Kane in that sequence, then Ice Palace would have been next for sure.
Yeah, Ice Palace was incredibly underwhelming.
Yeah, I think Alazun is a bit more predisposed to that, considering his very unique situation. And you had to feel miles behind.
I was definitely looking for high variance plays, trying to make up what I felt had to be a reasonably large gap. And I felt good at the point where I went into Swamp Palace, but then after that, when I found nothing there, it was a lot less clear to me what my next step should be. And so I just kind of went for the play that I thought would be, let's go for the best case rather than playing any sort of safety. So went straight for Mire, then said, all right, you know what? Ice is a place that people hate, and avoid that. Let's head right there. And at about the time I turned in the green pendant, I was 98% sure I was done. But kept going at least until I saw the dot done. Didn't really feel like finishing my GT climb, but...
Yeah.
Well, let's just say I felt equally dismal about Swamp. So at that point, I'm just racking my brain. I'm like, okay, 5 crystals in. At this point, I either gamble like a mad person or I play it safe and at least clean up. Because I still had a lot of overworld I hadn't touched. Like, I didn't think I did Zora's checks, or is my memory not working right?
Yeah, you did leave the Zora's check sitting for a while. Alazun had knowledge of Ether for a long time before you, and that was one of the things we were talking about leading up to your Death Mountain play. Like, what if Turtle Rock was Ether, and you did not know where that was, so...
Yeah, unfortunately it was just Bombos, which we had, God, like 2 minutes into the seed or something.
Oh god, yes. How quick the medallions were, that was just... I don't think I've ever seen that, so I decided to try it dumb and see if Quake would trigger a stun situation with the guards, which it didn't, now I know. But hey, at least Bombos cleared the ropes out.
I skipped all that stuff, because I had already established it was a dead prize pack. But I think I must have killed about 15 rats before one finally dropped a bomb for me. Which, at a 50% drop rate, is a little bit unlucky.
Yeah, that was actually one of the most entertaining things I think I've ever seen. So, yeah, your experience farming for bombs in the seed was very, like, polarizingly different. Alazun made it down there first to the little rat corner, killed like 6 of them. They didn't drop a single item, like much less a bomb, but not a single item. And then Leslie gets down there, and he gets like 7 or 8 bomb drops. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was insane. I saw that, I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what is this? And then to hear the polarizing luck happened, well, that's RNG, unfortunately, and sometimes RNG just says no.
Yeah, and I mean, it's always weird because there's 2 different strategies when you feel behind. There's the just start gambling and start skipping things, which if you skip the wrong things, you're just toast. And there's the be very, very thorough, hope that your opponents are going to skip things. And I definitely went for the first one. Partly because I had watched at least a little bit of your other routing, and you seemed to play a little more thorough. And so I figured if I was going to make up time, it was going to be that way instead of by just hoping you missed something.
Even so, I do miss things from time to time. Like, did I even see what was on Pyramid Ledge?
It was a lovely 20 rupees. Because as soon as I finished Ice Palace, I went Sastrala, Pyramid Ledge, Catfish, North Dark World, Village of Outcasts into Smith Chain, basically. And so by the time I got that cane, I had Smith Chain and Left Side Swamp left.
Yeah, that was a rude place for Kane, and one thing that threw me off about that seed is that you get early book, and it turns out to be a ginormous red herring. That book did
I would say, I don't know if you dipped, I assume you dipped Eastern early, given that you said you second to last location Moon Pearl. But, yeah, so at the point where I'm like, alright, well, I need that bow, so I couldn't, because I knew, I'm like, alright, I need the hammer, the glove, I need the bow, so I just, okay, I have to go back to Death Mountain, I can't just leave Hera and come back at the very end of the scene. And then said, well, I've already done all of Eastern, let's just go to Desert and hope it pays out. But yeah, hopefully, I mean, GG's. Like, you had a good series. It's not like shit happens and you have to be ready to roll with it. And I would say, hope you end up doing well in your next series. And I could just take down Scandalous instead if I can deal with Ladybox Thief.
Well, here's to hoping those issues that got you in this seed don't rear up again, because that was extremely unfortunate. GG's to you for a heck of a series, where after this, hopefully you do well in your end of things, and I do well in mine, because, well, I've got another game one in front of me, and it's back to open 7-7 defeat gaining for both of our game ones, so we both know what's coming up. And best of luck.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully I end up in a situation where I get second seed and then get matched up against Drac, and then I can knock Drac out of the tournament and ruin his day instead, because that would just be perfect. Hi, Drac!
Yeah, I would love to see that happen, though.
But yeah, GG's and best of luck to both of our runners. Also, if you're watching, make sure to give both these runners a follow for putting on this wonderful show today. And I'd also like to shout out our trackers and restreamers. Thank you very much, Nori and Ginksy Girl. And thank you to my co-commentator as well. Thank you, Dracaris, for coming to commentate with me today.
And thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, thanks everyone. And I guess any last comments, or are we good to go?
Watch ZSR. They do. Oh, come on Wednesday to ZSR to see the loser semifinal in the multi-world tournament, where I might be playing.
And
That's my last comment. It's a fun tournament.
My buddies keep telling me that ZSR does a lot of fun stuff, so I am definitely going to be around, that's for sure, in that regard. So yeah, check out all the stuff that's on ZSR. Really good stuff, really good people, and really good memes. Where do you think I got Oops All Dungeons from anyway?
okay. Again, big thanks again to Megawatt and Dracaris for doing commentary tonight, and also to Jinxie Girl for tracking. And GG's again to Alazun and Leslie Pro 04 tonight. Best of luck in moving on in the tournament. And I guess I'm going to be sending you over to the Go Mode podcast, where we have another Challenge Cup race going on, Eudaimonistic versus Ms. Metroid. So with that, have a good night, and hopefully we'll see you over in the other Challenge Cup race. Thanks. Bye.